In this video, I'm going to show you how to remove and replace an ignition coil boot on a 4.7 Grand Cherokee. So we're going to remove the top of the air breather that's connected to the throttle body. I'm not going to take the air box off. You can. There's 4 clips. I'm just going to undo these. I've got 2 clamps here for the rubber air intake, and then 1 on the throttle body, and we're going to lift that right up. 8mm or flat screwdriver. And then there is 1 located in the back on the throttle body. It's right here. As soon as I find it. All right. So now, once this hose is out of the way, you can see that there's a mounting bolt here. And there's 1 directly on the other side. It's a 10mm socket. It's easier to get in there. Wrench will not work. And just loosen that up. And we'll get the other side. Here's the passenger side. Now we can lift the housing off the throttle body and the top of the engine. Just wiggle it back and forth. You got 1 more vent hose right here. So you're going to have, this 4.7 has 8 coils, 4 on one side, 4 on the other. And every other one you'll notice will have a little resistor mounted to the actual top of the coil. That's for static through the harness. So I'm going to take that one off to give you an idea. 10mm bolt. I prefer a socket on this. I'm going to give it a quick spray real quick to make sure we don't cause any havoc and breakage. 10mm socket. I'm gonna do it by hand because I don't, being a plastic intake and a stud, sometimes a tool, electric tool or an air tool could strip that really fast or crack plastic. So I'm gonna go by hand and hopefully get some. You wanna feel that break. You don't wanna force it with a power tool. And then you can lift up on that resistor. Now we're going to disconnect the ignition coil harness to the coil. There's a tab right here you can push down. I like to use a little pocket screwdriver. Just pull it off. Now we're going to grab the ignition coil and we're going to just give it a twist and lift up. So now we're going to replace the ignition coil boot set. And when you have the boot, it travels. They tape the coil little wire on there for you, so you need to remove that tape. You can use like a little razor blade or a knife. So with a razor blade, make sure you don't rub across the rubber because that defeats the point. You don't want this rubber to have any breakage in it. So you can go right on the metal. You're not going to damage it. Peel that tape off. Then take the tape off of the little spring. Toss that tape aside. So those are the 4 pieces that we're going to use to replace this boot set. Pocket screwdriver, best results. Take this O-ring off, bring it down. Now we can take this boot off, go around the seal, break it up. You can see how dry rotted that is. Split instantly. Remove that, and then you'll see the spring pop out. I can hear it in there. Take the screwdriver, bring it up in there, pull it out. So now with the old coil, you're going to take that new spring, the bigger end, in first, let it just fall down in place. I found that a 1/4 inch extension works nicely without damaging anything. You can bring it right in there and push it and you'll feel it seat. And there it goes, it's seated right on there. Make sure you take the old O-ring off. I see the dirt right there, so I'm going to clean that up before I put my new O-ring on and stuff. The rest of the rubber seals. Just clean that groove out, and then I'm going to take a clean rag, wipe it down. I'm not going to spray it with any chemicals. I don't want to damage, possibly get this to be cracked. So with just a cloth rag, I'm just going to wipe any excessive dirt off. Set it aside. I'm going to get my new O-ring, place it on, roll that right down, right to that big groove. That's where it sits in there. Beautiful. Now the O-ring's on, and we're going to put the new seat flare. It just sits right above it. It just stops dirt and water debris from sliding down in, and that seal will make the actual seal. Just like that. You can see where the old one sat. Make sure it's seated all the way around. Good to go. Now we can put on the last piece, that rubber boot. Bring it right up over that lip. Make sure it's seated perfectly inside. Looks good. I'm going to take some clean silicone paste, and I'm going to put it right on that O-ring only. Just bring it right around. And now we're ready to install. So now to install the ignition coil, we're going to drop it right over that cylinder hole. I'm going to line up the mounting bolt hole. Once you feel that rubber boot start to catch, you're going to need to just, on both sides, I like to put even pressure down. Feel it slide right in. Nice. Take your ignition coil wire, line it up and click it till you hear the click. And now we're going to take that harness resistor, put that bolt over, get the nut, 10mm socket, we'll snug it down, then we'll torque it to factory specs. The specs on this is 70 inch-pounds, 10mm socket, and just torque it. So now we can put the air housing back onto the throttle body. So you're going to put that rubber seal on there, rock this back and forth until it seats. You want to line up these mounting brackets right here on the side. And you can take a visual, feel, and see if that's going all the way down in. There we go. Now I'm going to put those mounting bolts on way before I tighten any other brackets. On the driver's side, I'm going to put in the mounting bolt, set up by hand, and then I'm going to go to the passenger side and do the same on that. Once those both are in place, you can tighten them up. That's a 10mm socket or wrench. While we're right here, let's put that breather hose back on. And now we can put on the actual rubber vent hose, air hose. And with a flathead screwdriver or a 8mm socket, I'm going to tighten up the clamps for the air box. And then the last one up here on the throttle body housing. When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.